Hello, welcome back. Paul Shane Walker here, and today's video is really going to talk about that universal question, which if you've been to enough seminars, if you've been to enough live events, you usually hear someone in the audience ask the guru on stage this question, which is knowing what you know now, would you go back and do it all again? So, knowing what I know right now, would I go back in time and make the same mistakes and do the same things exactly the same? Well, the answer is yeah, and it's probably not for the reason why you think. Now, if you've not read my story, if you've not clicked on the About Me tab on my website, a little unabridged story is basically, when I first started online about 4 years ago, I had no idea. I had no idea. I worked in sales, so I kind of knew about sales, so I figured, yeah, cool. How hard is it to build a business online? And what I quickly figured out was, I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about creating a website, creating a blog, social media, all that sort of stuff. So the resulting, thing from all of that was spend a lot of money to try and figure that stuff out. And then because I quit my job to build this online business, I actually went broke quite quickly, to the point where I was on the verge of bankruptcy. I had no money coming in, and I got kicked out of the place that I was living in. And to top it all off, my mum passed away from cancer, all in basically a kind of 6 to 12 month period. So things were pretty low. Things were definitely not the best. That was definitely not the best part of my life, and it was all self-inflicted. It was all things that I had done, choices that I had made had put me into that situation. It wasn't really outside forces. It was all things that I had, chosen to do. So looking back now, like present Paul, knowing all that hardship and all that stuff that I've gone through, would I do it all again, knowing exactly what I know now? And the answer is yeah, for the simple reason that as much as being bankrupt and not having a place to live and not being able to afford, to buy, bread or milk, just basic food to sort of eat every day, like that's how bad it was. Like I was pretty much nearly on the street, and even going through all that and knowing what I know exactly now, I'd still do the same thing, because what all of that taught me was that's not the way to do it. Now, at the time, I thought I was the biggest loser. I thought I was the biggest failure on the face of the earth, that I couldn't figure out how to build a business, and that I was, basically so stupid and so dumb to quit my job to, kind of build this dream, as everyone kept telling me, oh, this is a big dream. It'll never happen for you. So to think that I was the biggest failure at the time, was soul crushing. I pretty much got to a point where I didn't want to be on this planet anymore, because that's how low and just like how hard I hit rock bottom. But what I realized was that failure was actually a success, because I learned now what not to do. So, I picked myself back up, and I eventually got myself back into a job, started getting a steady income coming back in, and I was able to pay off my debts and, kind of get my head further and further, above that waterline. And, knowing what I know now, it'd be horrible to have to go back through that thing again. But I know now what doesn't work. So I would either avoid some of those choices that I made, or I'd be able to, navigate my way around that, doing different things, because I know what doesn't work right now. So when you hear a guru or someone get asked, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? Really listen to what that person has to say. There is some people that kind of fluff around it, but the true people that have actually been through some sort of pain and failure, it's actually a success for them, because they figure out what doesn't work. So then they go and kind of do the opposite, or they do something different that eventually got them to where they are, at that moment on the stage being asked that question. So think about that. Really understand that. If knowing what you know now in your own life, would you go back and do the same things? You know, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. I hope that you would say yes, because I hope that you would learn from your mistakes. As painful as it would be to go through that stuff again, to either get to this point where maybe you've reached a higher plateau than where you were, or maybe you're still trying to figure some things out, but at least you know what doesn't work. And that's really the whole point of that question, is learning from your mistakes, realizing whatever failures you may have had are actually a success. Because if you can learn from that, then you know not to make that same mistake again, and you know to try something else, and hopefully that'll take you to where you want to be. So if that's helped you, if you found this very useful, please leave a comment below. Feel free to share this video, and especially if you think this is going to help someone else. And I'll see you guys all on the next video. Have an awesome day. Bye.